This is the second recording for section 8.6. So leasing is the practice of paying a specified amount of money over a specified time for the use of a product. Leasing is essentially a long-term rental agreement. We're going to talk about the benefits and the disadvantages of leasing a car. A closed-end lease, each month you pay a fixed amount based on the estimated usage. When the lease ends, you return the car and pay for mileage in excess of your estimate. So obviously your lease could be lower if you estimate that you will drive a lower number of miles. The leasing advantages: leases require only a small down payment or no down payment at all. Right? Many people can't come up with a down payment up front, a large down payment. Lease payments for a new car are lower than loan payments for the same car. Most people can lease a more expensive car than they would be able to buy. When the lease ends, you return the car to the dealer and you do not have to be concerned with selling the car. Leasing disadvantages: when the lease ends, you do not own the car. So basically you've paid a monthly payment, but you actually don't have the car at the end. Most lease agreements have mileage limits. 12,000 to 15,000 miles per year is common. So if you exceed the number of miles allowed, then there can be considerable charges. When mileage, penalties, and other costs at the end of the leasing period are taken into consideration, the total cost of leasing a car is almost always more expensive than financing a car. So again, it depends on the number of miles driven. While leasing a car, you are responsible for keeping it in perfect condition. You are liable for any damage to the car. Leasing does not cover maintenance, and there are penalties for ending the lease early. Auto insurance. When you purchase insurance, you buy protection against loss associated with unexpected events. Different types of coverage are associated with auto insurance, but the one required by nearly every state is liability. All right, so you have to have liability. There are two components of liability coverage. Bodily injury liability covers the cost of lawsuits if someone is injured or killed in an accident in which you are at fault. Property damage liability covers damage to other cars and property from negligent operation of your vehicle. Right? It makes sense. Bodily and property, right? So you are required to have liability when you are at fault. Liability insurance. Collision coverage pays for damage or loss of your car if you're in an accident. And comprehensive coverage protects your car from perils such as fires, theft, falling objects, acts of nature, and collision with an animal. All right, so there's two types. Collision coverage. Right, obviously that means accident, and then comprehensive coverage for other things. Example of saving money with a used car, right? Even if the car has 2,000 miles on it, the price drops significantly than if it's a brand new car. Suppose that you are thinking about buying a car and narrow down your choices to two options. The new car costs $25,000 and can be financed with a 4-year loan at 7.9%. The used car option, a 3-year-old model of the same car, costs $14,000 and can be financed with a 4-year loan at 8.45%. What is the difference in monthly payments between financing the new car and the used car? So this is actually worked out for you, right? It's our payment formula, our formula number 7 on the formula sheet or in your notes. Right, but this is a formula we were just using in the last recording, right? And the monthly payment for the new car is $609, and the monthly payment for the used car is $345. Again, plugging into our payment formula. What is the difference in monthly payments between the new and the used car? So let me look back what the new car was. The new car was $609. And the used is $345. So you can save $264 by getting the new used car as opposed to the new car, right? But who knows about maintenance and all that, but definitely more affordable, right? For the same 4-year loan. In both cases, it was a 4-year loan. The money pit of car ownership. Some people are like, oh yeah, I can afford the monthly payment of $260 a month, but there's a lot more that goes to it than just the monthly payment. Buying a car is a huge expense. To make matters worse, the car continues costing money after you purchase it. These costs include operating expenses such as fuel, maintenance, tires, toll, parking, and cleaning. The costs also include ownership expenses such as insurance, license fees, registration fees, taxes, and interest on loans. And you have to watch it now in Illinois. You don't get the thing in the mail reminding you to get your plate tags, so they can get you on expired tags. You've got to watch that. Some examples of cost per year for different types of automobiles. A small sedan has an average cost per year of $67.35. Medium sedan, minivan, large sedan, SUV, right, has an average cost of $11,360 per year. That's a lot of money, right? Not just gas, right, altogether. So their annual fuel expense, right, we can figure out approximately how much we pay per year in fuel expense. All right, you just take the miles driven divided by the miles per gallon that your car gets, right? And then, of course, multiply by the price per gallon. You don't really need a formula for this. I mean, you should just be able to think about that, right? But if you have to memorize that formula, you will need to, but you should be able to just think about it. Suppose that you drove 24,000 miles per year, or that you drive 24,000 miles per year, and gas averages $4 per gallon. What will you save in annual fuel expenses by owning a hybrid car averaging 50 miles per gallon rather than an SUV averaging 12 miles per gallon? So let's do something like split it up here. Hybrid on this side and then SUV on this side. So the hybrid gets 50 miles per gallon, and the SUV gets only 12 miles per gallon. So if you drive 24,000 miles per year, and you average 50 miles per gallon, all right, you would then multiply that by the $4, all right, and that will give you the total amount. 1,000 divided by 50 times 4. All right, the total amount spent per year, which is $19.20. And for the SUV, 24,000 miles. This one only gets 12 miles per gallon. All right, multiply that by the $4. All right, and that will give you the cost for the year, 24,000 divided by 12 times 4. So that should give you 8,000. All right, so it says, what will you save in annual fuel expenses? So you will save, all right, this one's 8,000. The hybrid was $19.20, so you'll actually save, what is that? That's $6,080 per year by owning a hybrid. All right, this right here, you can just think about, just gives you the total number of gallons, right? And you multiply it by $4 a gallon, right? But if you go drive 24,000 miles and you get 50 miles per gallon, right? That's going to give you the number of gallons of gas. Or you can memorize the formula. Fuel expenses continued. If you deposit your monthly fuel savings at the end of each month into an annuity that pays 7.3% compounded monthly, how much will you have saved at the end of the 6 years? So, right, if we get the hybrid instead of the SUV, we decided that we would save $6,080 per year, right? So let's suppose that we take that money that we're saving and invest it. So we're going to save even more money, right? We're going to get more money out if we invest it. So we are going to, it says your monthly fuel savings. So that's how much that's what we're going to use for our P, is our monthly deposit. But we have our yearly savings. So we're going to have to take our $680 per year and divide by 12. If you do that in your calculator, you will get 506.666. So we'll just round to the nearest dollar. So you're actually going to save $507 every month. Okay, so that is the amount that we're going to put into the annuity. And again, we're going to look for the savings formula for the annuity. We want to know how much we will have at the end of the time. So remember, there's two annuity formulas. One is if you want to find A, which is formula number 5. If you look at your formula sheet, formula number 5 is the one that's A equals, that finds the amount at the end of the time, which is exactly what we're wanting to do. We are given the P, right? That's how much we're depositing every month. So I'll go ahead and write down that formula number 5. A equals P bracket 1 plus R over N to the NT minus 1, close the bracket, divided by R over N. But again, remember we decided that we're going to put that in parentheses so we can punch it all in one time in our calculator, those of us that have the one that we can see the operations. Okay, so P is 507, right? That's our monthly amount that we're going to deposit. That's our savings from purchasing the hybrid car. We're going to deposit into account. 1 plus R, our rate is 7.3%. So of course we divide by 100, 0.073. Compounded monthly, N is 12. At the end of 6 years, so 12 times 6, right? It's NT. Minus 1, close it, divided by R over N. So that is our setup, and 12 times 6 is 72, so we are going to always do this out first. And then we can punch it in with all of our parentheses as 507 parenthesis 1 plus 0.073 divided by 12 parenthesis, raise it to the 72 minus 1 parenthesis divided by parenthesis. All right, this, make sure to always count. There's one set. There's one set. And there's one set. 507 parenthesis 1 plus 0.073 divided by 12. Close the parenthesis to the 72 minus 1. Close the parenthesis divided by 0.073 divided by 12. Close the parenthesis. So actually our total savings, so we were saving $680 a year, right? And the it will say how much will you have saved at the end of the 6 years. So, you know, you could think about it is if you didn't invest it, you would just do 6,080 and multiply it by 6. And that's how much you would save. But if you invest it, let's actually compare that real quick. 680 times 6. So just by not investing it and getting a hybrid car, we would save $36,480 on fuel expenses. But if we take that money, the savings, and actually invest it, we'll get $45,634. So almost $10,000 more than if we didn't invest it. All right, so this is the amount saved at end of 6 years. So that's pretty darn good. And that is the end of the car section.